this works. Okay, so let's all get to our seats, and I want to remind that you should rate and comment and blog about these presentations and then conf in general. And now let's welcome our next speaker, Adam.
Oh, hi everyone, can you hear me? That's great. So you might have an open source project which you want to build. You want to distribute it to your users, and you want to make sure that users will have no problems to install your project. So what would you do? Let's use Copr for that. What I'm going to talk about now is what can you do with Copr, how can you do it. I will have 2 demos, and then something about the Copr project itself. So first, what's Copr is? Copr is a build service, which means that it can transform your source code, it can build it, and create an RPM repository. So your users will be able to install your project. And there are 3 steps, and I will show you what you can do in all 3 steps. The first is source code. We actually support 4 types of source code now. You can have source RPM, which you can submit, actually upload to any public server. This was the initial functionality, and about half a year ago, it was the only one. And then we added storage to Copr, so we are able to store the source RPMs, and also we can build directly from Tito, from Git using Tito or mock-SCM plugin. Jay, how many of you know Tito? Okay. Was it? Okay, so there was a talk yesterday about Tito, so you can have a look. It's basically a small program which you can run in your Git repository, and it will build your packages automatically on your machine locally. And mock-SCM, how many of you know mock? Oh, that's better. So mock can build from Git, and we are using the plugin in Copr as well. So that's about source code, and let's see, there are actually two versions. One is like snapshot, and one is live code. And if we have live code, we might be able to just store the URL to your Git and build from it directly. So that's what we did. So there are 3 ways of initiating your build. You can submit the source as usual, as before, and then you can store the information about your build in Copr and do build with just 1 click with no submitting everything, or automatic builds using webhooks. This is now supported on GitHub only, and I will show you in the demo how to do that. And then, yeah, some other bonus things you can do in builds. You can do external repositories. You can use dependent projects if you require some packages from something else. Enable, disable internet access, and modify truths. This might be important if you want to build software collections, and use comps XML. And then when you build your packages, by default, this creates your repository automatically, but if you have some large project which consists of 10 packages, you can just build each one and then click for your repo to be created. So that was about the what. There are some build types, and you can do full automatic process or just manual in every step. And now I will show you how, and these would be the demos, almost live demos. And I have 2 prepared. First is submitting build via command line, and then I will use the web interface. So I did screenshots because I don't believe in live demos. So first what you need to do is install Copr CLI, which is our client. So I will do it right now. Yes. Thank you. Now I want to build some source. I just picked a random source from the internet. So I will download it, yay, and I've got it in my directory. Now I need to set up my Copr CLI, and it's something like login to Copr. I have to put my token there. So I edit the file, and I can get this from the URL. You can also see a link in the bottom of the web UI. So this is something like my token. I will save it. And now let's see what Copr CLI can do. First, I need to create a project. So I will create a project. I will call it devconf project. Yay. And then it's time to build a package. I'm using the source RPM and uploading directly to Copr from my machine. So I specified Copr CLI build. This is the project and package. And now it's building. Actually, it's uploading to Copr, running, and succeeded. At this point, I have the package built and the repo ready for installation. Now, anyone can install your package, so you can run this command, dnf copr enable and Copr project name, which will add the project to your computer. And if you're enabling random project, this is important. You need to know what the project does, because Copr is community project and everyone can use it. So there might be some testing stuff, some dangerous stuff. So this is important to keep in mind. And now we can just install it. That's it. So that was the first demo. And now I would like to show you how to do the automatic builds, which is the new thing we can do. So this is how our user interface looks like. So I will click on New Project. I will select some name. This is devconf demo 2. And on the same page, I can choose the truths. I just chose Fedora 23. And I click on Create. My project is created now, so let's submit the first build. So I click on Builds, New Build. And I would like to use Tito, which is the script I talked about before. And this will do a build directly from my Git repository. So I will need the public clone URL. And I'm also checking test option, which will build my last commit every time. So I can submit it. And it's importing. Let's have a detail look. And it succeeded. And I can install it the same way as before. And now let's have a look at the automatic stuff. So this is the automatic builds. If I want to enable it for this project, I need to go to Packages. I can click on my package, which I just built. And there is something called default source. I can set default source to any package in my project. So I will just do this. I will need the same URL, the Tito option as before, and I can also enable the webhook rebuild. Submit. And now I need to set up GitHub. So I will go to Settings here, Webhooks, and this is my URL. This is my token. So I will need to add it to my GitHub repository, which is under Settings, Webhooks and Services, New Webhook, and I can paste it here. And that's it. I click, and I can now submit new builds with every commit using Copr. And what we plan in future is those small banners, which can be added to your project page. So you can do something like very basic continuous integration and test your every build. So that's everything from the demos. Do you have any questions so far?
I don't know if you'd rather take this at the end, but I like working with a kind of fed package style. I don't want direct integration.
Yeah.
Because I'm old school, but I don't just want to keep uploading source RPMs. Can I do that? I haven't been able to find out if I can.
Yeah. So the question was if you can use something like Fed package in Fedora. Not at this moment, but we are using the same storage, the same dist-git as Fedora does, and we are planning to do that. We would like to open it for everyone, so it's coming.
Another good thing would be to have an import, instead of having the import directly from source repositories, to have an import from an external SCM that is organized like this Git, to just take a spec file and patch repository from an external Git or in
Yeah.
SCM or whatever.
Yeah, you can actually do that. If you use the mock plugin, you can specify your Git, your spec file, and it can be Git or SVN. So it's supported now.
But does it really pick only the packaging stuff, or does it want to have the whole source code in the repository?
It will take the whole source code.
That's not what I want.
Yeah, so I will talk about contribution later. So maybe you can send a patch. That would be very nice to have. Yeah?
The GitHub integration is cool.
Thank you.
Any plans for Pagger?
Actually, not plans, but we just didn't think about it. This is very new. We just wanted to test it with GitHub, and I think, yeah, it can come.
Cool.
Why not?
Pagger has webhook support, and it is similar to GitHub, but not identical. So
All right.
you probably share a lot of code.
I can have a look at that.
Is it possible to filter out only tag events from
Yes, if you use Tito, the question was if I can just use tags, right, in Git. If you use Tito, you can specify that you want to build your tag releases only. So if you don't check the test, as I did, you can build the tags.
and the tag version will be inserted into a spec file, I suppose, right?
Actually, Tito manages it itself, so it will create a version with every tag.
Okay, I'll take a look.
Yeah.
You said that it's possible to trigger builds via webhooks.
Yes.
It's also possible to trigger something when build succeeded, like to install packages in YCI and reports.
Thanks for the question. The question was if I can trigger something when the build succeeded. Yes, we emit Fed message with every build, so you can check on that if it helps. Fed message is a message to IRC from Copr,
Not just ours.
not just IRC.
Message bus, 0 MQ.
Everything publishes.
Yeah.
Is he the version of Tito that's in the Cheroot, or is it just a single version that you use across all the Cheroot?
I'm sorry?
Which version of Tito is used?
Which version of Tito? I'm not sure actually.
Well, I was wondering if it, just as Tito, evolves new options and stuff, if that's specific to the build, like the Cheroot environment for that build. We can think of it.
Yeah.
Basically, what version of Tito are you using? Is it the one on the host or?
Yeah, it's one of the host actually. Yeah. Okay, so let's move to the Copr project. As I said, we are moving, I didn't say that, I'm saying it now. We are moving our project to GitHub as well because we want to enable pull requests, and we would like to test and use the automatic builds of Copr in Copr, and then install Copr from Copr. So that's one thing. And about the contribution, I did something with Vagrant. Do you know Vagrant? Yeah? So if you want to contribute to our project and you have something, let's say, small to change and you want to test it, you can clone our repository and run this one single command, and it will create on your machine the complete development environment. We now support just front-end and dist-git, so you will not be able to make builds, but any changes in the UI and stuff, you can test it with this. And it will not break your system. So that's about contribution. And that's all from me today. Just to remember that Copr is a build service which make your repository. And that's it. Any questions? Yeah.
Actually, I missed one important thing, I suppose. Why actually use Copr instead of, let's say, build bot or other automation tools already existing? You will start up implementing your own solution. Oh, I understand that because it's easy to implement new features if you already know the code base. However, you miss a lot of fixes already fixed, issues already fixed in build bot. Oh, I strong supporter of build bot because it's easy to use as well. So I'm curious why you didn't choose the bot first.
What's buildable?
What is task running protocol? Let's say. Actually, there is a better option, and that is open build service, which actually builds RPMs already.
There's always one.
It's very.
Well,
Anyway, the question is why you implemented Copr instead of using OBS or bot?
Yeah, I think Mirek will answer that as well.
The
Yeah.
question why we use with our own instance and not OBS is well documented on our Copr wiki page. There is a one-page reading. So there was I evaluated, and there was a reason why not use that.
What's the question exactly? What is the reason?
Well, in that time, they used different building system, totally different from Koji, because they evaluate the dependency on the server side, while in Koji and Mock evaluated in the CRUD, on the build system itself, which is totally different and can result, especially with the move from YAM to DNF, to completely different result. Now, well, we cooperate with OBS closely, so now there is a proof of concept where you can use Mock inside of OBS, and we try to use OBS, and we would love to use OBS instead. So we took OBS sign, subproject of OBS, and we actually use that in Copr, and we actually right now are contributing to OBS sign because there are some changes. So we contribute to that. Other reason was that they use a lot of Ruby modules which are not in Fedora. So it was a 9-month project to get all these dependencies into the Fedora, and not all of them are still there because there was some bundling, and Fedora was rejecting to give out the exception. So yeah, and the Fedora infrastructure had the guidelines that all the packages which you are running should be in Fedora. So a lot of problems.
It's exactly the issue where politics dominates over technology.
Yes.
And to compare it to Copr isn't the same thing. Copr is like PPAs for Fedora. That's the idea of Copr. It's supposed to be really easy for people to just hit a few buttons and publish a package for other people to use, instead of setting up a whole generic test system on their own infrastructure or OpenShift or whatever. It's a hosted service for people to use. It's not. Yeah. One.
It's closer to OBS than.
Yeah, but that's the one
Closer.
people know about. People know PPAs, right? That's the idea. It's
Sure.
not,
Yeah.
it's not an automation service for testing your own project. Really.
To be honest, from outside, it looks very much like not a native case syndrome. I didn't want to say this, but I have to still
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't be open
So
source
it's
if we did it a little.
certainly looks like Fedora project implemented their own Fedora specific solution which doesn't work outside of Fedora. Instead of reusing something which is potentially beneficial to the entire community, we started to implement our own locked in for Fedora specific one.
But
This very much doesn't fit into our law policy, like freedom, openness, etc.
to be honest, there was not too much coding on the Copr, which is for Copr itself. There's only on the back end and front end, which is really quite small code. We used signing code from the OBS. We used this Git the Fedora and Adam was leading the project, which make it a standalone project from a bunch of files in Ansible Git. It should be finished soon because Fedora still uses that just that file. So we are working on the mock itself. So a lot of our work is behind the Copr on the project which are shared among the community. So that's not just we are inventing something completely new.
But it looks very much the same. unlike OBS and Nicholas, Bot already uses mock, already uses GIMP, already uses a lot of tools already implemented in mock. So in fact, what you said is just there are not so much work was done on Copr, so that's why we did it because it's easy, because it's faster. But it's not faster, it's not easy. There is a lot of work to do as far as I see. So I didn't buy this argument at all. So
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the discussion. We can take it outside and compare the build service of the world.
I can't hear shit, and no one on the recording is going to be able to hear any of it.
Actually, yeah, we can. It's not on the recording. So, have we got any other questions about Copr? Yeah.
What architectures are there?
We actually support the PC architectures, which is i386 and x86 64, and there is also PowerPC. We don't support ARM, but we have some machines, I think, so we will be supporting in the future.
It works great for me, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so thank you for coming for this bit short talk.
What are the plans for the future? I mean, you haven't talked all that much about what you want to do next.
So actually, we would like to make the automatic builds more stable, and also we will be supporting things like building from PyPy, CPAN, and Ruby Gems, yeah.
Is that with automatically generated spec files?
Yeah.
So, what happened to Docker? Where is that? What's the status of that, and where is it going?
Oh, what happened to Docker?
Would be probably a question to me.
Yeah.
Can the rest of us can you explain what Docker is? Yes. Someone at the mic should explain.
Yeah, so, okay.
So for those who don't know, Copr is building of Docker images out of the Copr projects, which is very simply wrapper. Just enable the Copr images for the resulting Docker image. We have it done. Somehow there was a long delay because the FESCO, we finally get approved about, and Docker changed the web interface, and because Docker doesn't have basically API, you have it programmed as using screen scrape code, so we screen scrape the web and click instead of the user to create the Docker images, which is not ideal. And just before the Christmas, they changed the interface, so we have to done it again. And after Christmas, we had a different work, migrating, because our servers were still on the Fedora 21, so we migrated to something stable, which was finished just recently. So now we are considering the deployment of the Docker. My question is technically, I'm still not sure whether it is worth of the work, whether we should deploy that or stop that project before we actually announce it. So it's quite fragile because of that screen scraping code. So I'm not sure if other users will be interested in that actually.
So is there any
Yeah, but that OSBS have its own what's it called Docker registry. So the original idea was easily enable creation of the Fedora images on the Docker Hub, original Docker Hub, because if you look on the Docker Hub, there's Ubuntu, Debian.
The hard part is the part we want, is that what you're saying?
Pardon?
The hard part is the part that you want. So
Yeah.
the easy part is easy. The easy part is easy, hard part is hard. I don't know why that's so easy. Oh, okay. Thanks.
All right. So that's it from me. Thank you.
If anyone asked a question and they haven't had a scarf yet, please come to the front to collect one.
Yeah.
Or if you answered a question, please come to the front to get one.